What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from This is Pop Punk Promotions. I'm here with Tom from Throw Thermal Pod from Durham, North Carolina. How's it going, Tom?
It's going quite well. I've never heard that introduction, which is really cool. It's usually like, "Hey, Tom from this other band that you used to be in." But thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Just trying to help out the cause.
That's right. It's awesome. I totally appreciate it. Super cool.
So, when and how did you guys form?
This has been a project I've been working on for quite a long time, probably a few years now that I've been doing stuff on the side, being in another band for quite a long time. After that band ended, I just decided I wanted to keep writing some music naturally. And I pretty much just started laying down some ideas on my own on GarageBand, putting things down, leaving it for like 3 months, coming back to it and be like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. I should keep going with this. And then, that's kind of how it just started. Now I've just been slowly starting to get more and more into it.
That's awesome. So, you just released I Pay Rent and Shaking the Hands of Time. How's the response been?
It's been the people that like it have been really supportive and kind to me and saying, this is really good stuff. I've tested the waters with random styles and songs in the past, and you kind of get mixed reviews. Sometimes it knocks you down a little bit. You're like, should I keep doing this? I'm not really sure. And honestly, like when you do a project like this that I'm doing by myself for right now, I didn't consciously decide on a sound I was going to try to go with. And it's kind of morphing into what those two songs are. I feel like there's a lot of like I've got to program the drums, Dave. It's not like I've got a real drummer, so I'm kind of working to figure out, okay, how do I put this together? And sometimes they're sounding kind of electronic. Wait, that's going to change the sound, and it's the style doesn't feel like I want to go with. And these latest two songs, I feel like have really felt more like what I wanted to do. So it's been pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I tell people this all the time. It's like sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone and try, new things in order to, get to that next level.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of trial and error and a lot of just like playing with, different sounds. And ultimately, I feel like it's just reverting back to the same style that I've always liked, which is like if I had to compare it to a like if someone asked me like what do you want the songs to sound like name a band, I'd probably say like the Lawrence Arms if I had to like pick one specific band that I wanted to sound like. So people who are listening to this, they can go listen and figure out if they agree with that. But at the very least, like musically, I feel like that's kind of what I really am into.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So who'd you record it with and how was the process?
I did it all myself. So everything was done on my laptop. And I have, this Fender mic, a Mustang micro amp that plugs directly, like direct into my like GarageBand. And obviously it has a lot of different kind of emulators of different amps and things like that. So I do that. So I did it all me. I did it in my room upstairs. Like I said, I programmed the drums. The bass is played on my guitar. Unfortunately, I don't have a bass guitar, but I played it on guitar and kind of messed with the tones to make it sound a little bit more like a bass. And then the vocals, I record them in my room as well.
You're a jack of all trades. You can do literally everything.
Well, I mean, you listen to the thing, you can tell it's not like some professional recording, right? It sounds fine for what it is, but I'm still kind of figuring out some of those things as well.
That's awesome. So what would you say your favorite and least favorite thing is about the writing and recording process?
My favorite thing is once you kind of get all the parts down, doing some like harmonies is really fun. I really enjoy that because it kind of brings the whole thing together in my mind. Like there are parts that have a really good hook, but then when you throw a harmony on, it's even hookier and it just, I don't know, it just makes it full and feels finalized. But my least favorite part, oh yeah, and I also like overdubbing some guitar parts too. That's kind of fun, like some leads and things like that. But my least favorite part is definitely just in general. I'm constantly revising. And when you are doing it by yourself, you don't really have a group to say, hey, we're done. Like, we're good. This is awesome. Or, you don't have that sort of back and forth like you normally would in a band. And so it's just me sitting there, like listening to a version, and like, I need to change that. It's not very good. Or this needs to be a little faster. I don't know if that. So constantly revising is my least favorite part. I can't find the point where I just need to end it and just bounce it down and we're done.
That would drive me absolutely insane.
Yes. Yeah, that saying, the revisionist never gets it right. So that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, no, I'm a perfectionist, so like I would just like if something was just a little bit like off, just a tiny bit like wrong, I would just like scrap it and then start over again and just keep going until it's like 100% like perfect.
It's so challenging, you're right, because like I can't unhear a part that maybe I flubbed or messed up on like slightly. And I'm like, well, then I gotta go record the whole thing again. And there's other parts of that take that I really liked. And I can do edits and cuts, but it just doesn't feel the same sometimes. And it's just like sometimes I have to just leave a minor issue and just let it go. Because I think there's also something really raw and honest about that too. When you have some slight imperfections, I always enjoyed that listening to records growing up, and you'd always catch something and be like, "Oh, they messed up," and then you're like, "Actually, that's just them being human, and we make mistakes, and it's okay to have that in a song."
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So you're from Durham, North Carolina. Well, originally you're from Jersey, but now you live in Durham, North Carolina.
That's right.
How's the scene there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
There's one spot that, well, actually, there's two spots. So there's a place called Motor Co. that does shows in Durham that a lot of decent groups come through lately. Like May came through a couple times, and so I saw Josh Grigsby, drummer, playing for May, and so that was fun. I really like going to shows there. It's a nice venue. It's got, good sound. It's about probably holds about 500 people, so it's like that perfect size, I feel like. Because you get any bigger of a venue, you kind of get lost in it. But this is like one of those, hey, I went to shows back in the day. This is feels right to me. There was one smaller venue that I went to see. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Sincere Engineer at all, but if you know them, they played this venue called the Pinhook, and that was really cool. That's kind of downtown Durham. I mean, it's not much of a it's a downtown, but it's still a pretty small city. But those two places are kind of the places in Durham I like to go. There's a place in Raleigh that's bringing a lot of shows in lately called the Ritz that they bring in. Like Hot Mulligan played there recently. Other bands like that size. So it's obviously a bigger venue, but those two in Durham I really like. And the scene seems pretty good. It's not there's not much of a pop punk scene here at all, as you can imagine. I mean, that's kind of at this point in time, I feel like it's very specific to certain areas. But there's a lot of people playing music here, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, those venues are the best.
The
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 ones
the
that
that
take you,
medium
the ones,
sized.
yeah, the medium-sized ones, the ones that take you back to, 2006 when you were like in high school or middle school or, college or whatever.
Hmm.
Those have a special place in my heart.
Thanks for including me in that when you were counting those years. You knew you were like, wait a minute, I'm in middle school. No, like, this guy might have been in college at that point. He might have been out of college. I don't know how old this guy is.
Yeah, I just honestly, it's one of those things where I just like assume that like everybody's just like the same age range, the same age gap.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's totally
So
cool. You were being very inclusive, and I appreciate
I try.
it.
So who would you say your biggest influences are?
The band that got me wanting to play guitar in the first place when I was 12 or 13 was Green Day. That was so I would name that I would cite them as my number one influence of all time. And obviously they're still incredibly relevant in music today because they're still playing and putting out albums. But my biggest influence, the albums that influenced me the most of theirs would be the ones like Dookie, Insomniac. Um, I mean, I like Nimrod. I love Warning, and I really liked American Idiot. But Dookie and Insomniac were the two main ones in my wheelhouse because I got back into the earlier catalog once I found out about Dookie, but I was 12 years old when Dookie came out, so I was kind of trying to figure it out. And other bands that have really been a part of like my musical journey, Bouncing Souls is one of my favorite bands of all time. And that's Jersey through and through. They were the first real show, quote unquote show, punk show that I went to at Asbury Park at Stone Pony. I remember it was Blank 77, um, Bouncing Souls, this band called John Cougar Concentration Camp. That was a wacky name, but those three, and yeah, Bouncing Souls were the headliners, and it was probably the best, one of the best shows I've been to that I can remember. So Green Day, Bouncing Souls. I really love Jimmy Eat World. I always have loved Jimmy Eat World a lot, and the album Clarity I still listen to very frequently. But I love a lot of their stuff. But in that Clarity, I really like Futures. Those are my two. Chase This Light, like those, probably those three albums are top for me. I like Bleed American, of course, but it wasn't one of the mainstays for me. Then I also was heavily influenced by a lot of Lookout Records pop punk that came out around the time of Green Day's earlier albums. So I'm talking about bands like Screeching Weasel and Squirt Gun. Those two bands were really big in what I was listening to when I was getting into Green Day, and that kind of helped. That led me down that more poppier punk path because they're like very simple songs, very catchy, very hooky, and just super accessible, and that's what really got me into. I can do this. I can play this. So those are some of the main bands that I could cite. There's plenty of other bands like along the way, like Lawrence Arms, for instance. They came a little bit later and bands like that, but to get me really started, a lot of those bands.
A lot of amazing albums and records and bands there.
Yeah, you like them all? You like those?
I do.
Oh,
Green
sweet, good
Day.
for you.
Green Day's got a special place in my heart. They were one of the first bands that got me into pop punk and to punk rock, got me into
hmm
promoting bands, and so they have a special place in my heart. And I mean, the Bouncing Souls. I mean, they're just classic.
And Bouncing Souls just played at Crossroads not that long ago, which is like super small. That's like 400, maybe 500 people max, like if that. I think they did 2 nights. I saw some photos and some videos. I was like, oh, I wish I was at that show. That looked amazing.
That killed me because I really wanted to go to that show, but I couldn't because I think it was either weather or it was because of work.
Oh yeah. Well, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it's probably weather related, right? So there's some of that snow. Could have been.
Yeah, I don't play
Bummer.
around with driving the snow.
Now, good call. You're smart.
So I got $1 million question for you. If you could play a show with one of those bands or tour with one of those bands, who would it be?
The ones I just named.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now here's why I'm pausing and thinking about this just so I can explain my thought process. Immediately I would want to say my favorite band of all time, but then what I'm thinking is, do I want to do it just so that I'm saying I'm playing with them, or do I want to do it so that I think the fans will actually really enjoy what is happening that I'm doing too? So, I don't want to, I wouldn't want to play with a band where they're just like, I don't want to hear this guy play, or I don't want to do this. But I mean, at this point, if you tour with a band like Green Day, you're probably never going to see them, right? And that would be the fun part. So I think I'd probably pick the Bouncing Souls because I just feel like they would be very down to earth. The amount of time that they've been playing and grinding and doing, like, they've always been in that kind of like really popular but not overly popular size band, and they can play places like Crossroads, and they can do that. So I feel like they'd be very accessible, and I think a couple of them, are I think all of them pretty much are dads. So it'd be kind of fun to, I don't know, I just feel like they'd be good guys. I have a lot of Jersey connections, so that'd be the band I'd pick.
That would be a sick show, a sick tour.
Especially because one of the songs that I play a lot in my house, like on the speaker, is "Here We Go" from maniacal laughter. And my kids have learned that we just like do like a circle, basically a circle run around our house when that song comes on. They love it, and it's just like always gets me really pumped up. So have to get them to play that every night if we're on that tour.
That's what I call raising them right.
That's right. Yeah, agreed.
That's awesome. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you as a person. I did this with the other bands here at Rock and Roll.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, first one. Best vacation that you've been on?
Ooh. Um, I've gone to Italy twice in the last 9 years or so. And the first time I went when my wife was pregnant with our first son, and that was beautiful because I'd never experienced it. So I think I'd probably say that would be the number one. That was really fun. But then I went back this past September with my mom and dad and my brother, and that was really cool too because when you go back to a place, but you go to some different cities, it's really cool. So I'd say best one was my first trip. We went to Rome and we went to Venice and we went to Tuscany and some really cool places. So that was a beautiful time.
I've heard lots of great things about those places. My mom went there and my mom went to Europe for the first time. This was like 2 years ago with my Aunt Jen, and they went to Florence and Rome and all that, and they were saying the same things that it was just like unbelievable, like the history and just like the
Yeah.
architecture. And I need to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should.
Been to Europe a couple times, but I've not been to Italy, so that's on my bucket list.
Oh, where'd you go? Where were you going?
France, Belgium, let's see, Czech Republic,
Okay.
Austria, Ireland.
Oh, just a
I
few
lo
places here.
Yeah, I
Just
loved all
just
those
a few.
places. Well, the two times, the first two times I hit Belgium and England and all that, and it was on. I was on tour with a couple small bands from England, and so we were able to hit up a bunch of countries, and we didn't get to see that much because we were constantly like on the go. But
Yeah.
we still had the time of our lives, and I would still do it again in a heartbeat. And it's really cool to be able to tell people that, I did that. I slept in dirty vans. I went days without showering. My eating habits were terrible. McDonald's and Taco Bell. So
Yep.
I would trade for the world. Like I would do it again in a heartbeat. Just maybe next time a little bit more organized.
Yeah, totally. That sounds like every like tour that we're ever on, exactly what you just described, right? It's a beautiful thing, but challenging at the same time.
I mean, it definitely, you got to keep in mind that I was 22, 23, so, not as like mature, didn't have like everything together. I was still like figuring things out, like,
It's
as
the
I was
best time to
going.
go.
So, but now it'll be a lot better just because I'm older and, maybe more mature and to be determined, but like more organized. And I just think it would be a lot smoother and we would have a place to stay every single time. So,
Yeah, you'd be a little bit more thoughtful in the planning of everything, making sure everything is up to code, all of those types of
yeah,
things. I know what you mean.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you could be fluent in another language instantly, which one?
Um, Probably pick Spanish. Where I live, there is a lot of Spanish spoken, and I know just enough to kind of like understand some and speak a little because I took a number of years in school. But I think that would be a really important language to be fluent in, and I just really like speaking it. What about
Yeah,
you?
oh man, that's tough. I mean, Spanish would definitely be very useful, but
Right.
because I've got a lot of Swedish blood on my mom's side, I think it'd be cool to learn how to speak Swedish
Oh, that'd be cool. Okay.
or German. German would be really cool, just because I got a lot of German blood on my dad's side. But I think it'd be really sick to have like an English accent or like an Irish accent and be
Oh,
able
I
to
didn't
like
know that was an option. I thought I just had to learn another language. You didn't tell me I could change my accent.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm adding. I'm adding
Oh,
to the
okay, okay.
question.
That's fair.
But no, in all seriousness, I would go with Swedish, just because I'm
Okay,
mostly Swedish,
cool.
and my great
Sounds
grandparents
good.
lived there for 30 years, so it's not like it's like my 20th cousin. It's people that are pretty close to me, have a lot of blood in me. So yeah, I think that would make the most sense.
It's a fun sounding language too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean,
Yep.
I've heard it's not easy. I've got some Swedish music friends, and they're just like, dude, like if you learn Swedish, like it's gonna be tough. Like it's not an
Mm.
easy language. I was like, well, that's why I'm friends with you guys,
That's right.
so you can show me the ropes.
That's exactly right.
So if you had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
It would take some thought, I'd have to do some research, but honestly, I'd probably the first thing I think of is I'd want to do something that helps kids. So whether it be like some sort of kids that are experiencing poverty or impoverished conditions, or I don't know an exact foundation or a charity that I'd donate to, but it would probably be I'd probably do some research and find out where is the most amount of the money going to go directly to the charity, and then it would be something for potentially helping out with kids that can't afford food, or kid, like I said, something like that. So that no, it's not a perfect answer to your question because I don't have the charity in mind, but that would be the cause that I would go for.
Well, that one really hits home for me because I work with kids with special needs. So, anything that involves, kids really just like, has a special place in my heart and really hits home.
I didn't know that you did that. I wish I had asked that before. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I love it, but it's tough.
Yeah, for
Especially when
sure.
they're trying to like, choke slam you or they just like refuse to listen. You have to tell them like 20 times to, listen to the head teacher or, 20 times to like, listen to the gym teacher or whatever. But yeah, no, it's definitely very rewarding and they keep me young and full of energy. And in the end, that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. You're doing a great thing. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was funny. The one kid today, I kept serenading him with like Blink-182 and Newfound Glory and just like all the bands that I grew up listening to and I still listen to. And he doesn't know how to talk. He's nonverbal, so he would just be like, uh.
Like singing along, trying to
No,
sing
no, he'd be
along.
like, no, like stop, like you suck, like you're a terrible singer,
Oh,
and that's
oh.
his way of trolling me because like I'll mess with him and like sing or whatever, so then he'll like troll me and we'll like do that, and I
Hmm.
tell people he's like my son, like I would die for him, I would take a bullet for him. So when he graduates from middle school this year, like I'm gonna get like emotional.
I'm sure.
I'm gonna like tears are just like gonna legit come down my eyes because like he's like I treat him like he's my son.
So you were singing to him though. That's pretty
I was
awesome.
singing and played air guitar and like drumming, and he was like, and I was doing
He's
it
like,
the
stop this,
entire.
Dave. Stop
Yeah, he's
this.
like, you're terrible. Stick with promoting. Stick with playing drums. Like you cannot sing. I was like, Emerson, now you see why I'm not a vocalist in a band.
That's pretty funny.
That's why I just promote. All right, so last questions. What are some places in Durham that visitors should check out?
Anybody that comes through, just any interest in anything?
Yes.
Oh man. Well, so the one of the really cool spots that I enjoy is, we have a AAA minor league baseball team, Durham Bulls, that became really popular with Bull Durham, the movie. And they have a really cool stadium downtown, and around the stadium there's this area called, like, it's like the tobacco it's an old tobacco factory area, and you can kind of walk around there and it's really cool. There's some restaurants, there's some like water like flowing through the middle of it, some green space, and then the stadium's right there. And there's this place called DPAC, which a lot of people go for, like, um, kind of Broadway style theater shows. Durham Performing Arts Center it is. So that would be a cool place. That's kind of like a hub right there. But then, any other spots, I'd probably like, we every now and again, when it gets a little bit warmer, we like to go to the farmers market, which is Durham Central Park. And there's actually, you mentioned skating. There's a cool skate park right by the farmers market. So I don't skate. I tried when I was younger, and all I could do was an ollie. I never even could kickflip, but I was almost there, but I never made it. But either way, they've got a cool skate park up in that spot, so that's kind of fun. Like to visit the farmers market, go up to the skate park, watch a couple sessions right there. So those would be two of the big ones I'd probably venture to.
Then when I go back down to Durham, we can hit up a Durham Bulls game and then
Yeah,
hit up
man.
a skate park.
Yeah, do you think have you been down here?
I have. I was down here once. Let's see, this was like right before COVID, and my dad and I went to a minor league baseball game, and
Okay.
yeah, the ballpark was really sick. We had a lot of fun, and then we got to see like Duke University. We got to see Raleigh. We got to see what else did we see? We just saw a bunch of cool things, and
Nice.
yeah, we loved their time there. So yeah, the next time I'm down there, we'll definitely have to hit up the skate park and then do go to another baseball game.
Yeah, you can do the skating. I'll just watch. And if you need someone to film you or something.
Yeah, I mean that works out perfectly. I mean, just a heads up. I mean, I suck too. I mean, I do an all. I can do an ollie. I can do a 180, like front side, back side, and like that's it. Like
Oh,
a
okay.
kick.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I could barely do like a kick flip. I mean, I landed my first one like a couple months ago, so like
Oh
I'm
man,
right there with you.
dude, you're in like your new stage of life. You just started playing drums like a year and a half ago. You just
Yeah.
landed your first kickflip. You're like reinvigorated, like you were just reborn. This is awesome.
I mean, somebody's got to start, the trend, and if it's not going to be other people, like it's going to be me. But no, in all
Good
seriousness, I
for
mean,
you.
my whole thing is that we only get one life on this earth. Like we might as well just like make the most of it and like have no regrets.
Yeah,
And so that's what I'm trying to do is just live life to the fullest and have fun and just make as many homies as possible along the way.
that's awesome. That's a
So.
great way to live. Good for you.
I mean, I think it's just the Jersey in me.
Yeah, it's good. Real good.
Well, Tom, I really appreciate you coming on, and the support means the world to me.
Are you kidding me? I appreciate you having me on, even want to talk about this. It's super cool. It means a ton to me.
Well, I tell bands this all the time. It's like, if you're doing cool things, let's like I want you on here and I want to, learn about you and what makes you tick and your background and I want to learn about like the recording process and all that. So, I mean, this was awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So for the people that are going to watch this interview later, where can they find your music at?
Yeah, so the music that I'm putting out right now, you can find it. Currently, it's only housed on Bandcamp because for some reason, TuneCore that I use to upload to Spotify takes way too long to get the music pushed through. So that's okay. It'll eventually be on Spotify. Right now you can go to throwthermalpod.bandcamp.com and you can find all the songs on there. Eventually, you can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, all those things if you just search for Throw Thermal Pod. And just as a side note, if you search Throw Thermal Pod in Google, you'll find out the origin of the name very quickly, that it is from my favorite movie of all time, Big, with Tom Hanks. And in the movie, he plays this video game that's like floppy disk video game. This is like 1988, this movie came out. He's playing this game, and it's like he's posed with this battle against this evil wizard at the end. And he's trying, it's like where you have to type in, it's like MS-DOS prompts basically to type in to figure out what the answer is. And it's like, what do you want to do? Like, what are you going to do? You're in the evil wizard's cave and he's trying to like write an answer and his mom's yelling at him to take the garbage out. And he's like trying so hard to write this answer and he just can't get it. And he dies in that first round. And then later in the movie, he comes back when he's like 30 years old, when he's Tom Hanks, a grown man, sits down very calmly, plays the game. It's like very quiet and he has a chance to think about it. And it's like, what do you want to do? And he says, melt wizard. And then it says, what do you want to melt him with? And he says, throw thermal pod. And that's like the answer to the all his problems, which is ridiculous. Sorry I had to share that story, but it's just so funny to me that it's just a ridiculous name of a group, to be honest. And I couldn't get away from it because I just love that movie so much. And yeah, that's where you can find it. Just search that, you'll find it.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to go and watch that movie after this, and I'm gonna have to
Serious.
report back and let you know what I think.
Have you heard of this movie or never heard of it?
I don't think I've heard of it.
Oh, okay. So easy premise, very simple. He goes to a carnival because he can't get on a ride. He's too short, and he is trying to impress a girl. And now he goes to this Zoltar machine where he can make a wish, and he wishes he were big, hence the title of the movie. He wakes up the next day as a 30-year-old man. So his wish came true. He's Tom Hanks now, but he's like the same mind of him as a 13-year-old. And now it's like him going through the life as a 30-year-old, trying to figure out how to get back to being 13.
Funny because I feel like I could definitely relate to that. It definitely sounds like
There
my
you
kind
go.
of
There you
movies.
go. It is really awesome. And I don't know, I mean, if you haven't ever seen it, I don't know what it's going to feel like watching it in 2026 as opposed to like seeing it first in 1988 and then watching it. But good luck. Yeah, report back. Let me know what you think. I'm very curious.
That's really sick.
Yeah, it's a solid movie.
Well, everybody, go to the websites, listen to the music, buy a CD, buy a vinyl, buy a shirt. Tom, you're absolutely killing it. Keep up the sick work.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I hope you have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
All right, you too.
Peace.
See ya.